Once upon a time in a far-off land lived a Tyrannosaurus named Leo. Leo spent most of his day hunting and fighting off mosquitoes and other insects that followed him everywhere he went. Then one day, Leo came across a family of duck-billed dinosaurs who were spending the day on the beach enjoying the surf and fishing. Leo didn't like uninvited visitors to what he considered his turf, so he tromped over the sand to where the mommy duckbill was rubbing on some sunblock and watching her kids running around. "Excuse me," Leo said with authority. "No one is allowed on my beach without permission," he said to the mother duckbill. "And I don't recall giving you permission." Leo pulled out a pad of paper and a pencil and asked, "What is your name and where are you from?" Startled, the mother duckbill replied, "My name is Gertie, and I don't recall seeing any no trespassing signs posted." "It goes without saying," Leo replied, jotting down her name on the pad. "If you leave now, I won't report you to the authorities." He added, "What authorities are you talking about? This is a public beach, and you know it." Gertie replied, "I bring my kids here all the time, and nobody has ever said I couldn't, so be gone with you." Surprised that a duckbill would stand up to him, Leo placed the pad in his pocket and the pencil behind his ear and replied, "Are you serious? I am a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Nobody, including you, speaks to me in that manner." "You need to work on your manners," Gertie replied, turning away from Leo. She knew she was pushing her luck, but now she was committed. "Maybe if you asked nicely." "Ask nicely?" Leo asked. "Fine. Will you please get the heck off my beach?" "You call that nice?" Gertie asked condescendingly. "I bet your mother is proud of you." "My mother is no longer with us, if you must know," Leo replied. "She probably wouldn't have asked you and would have eaten you instead. You're lucky to be still alive." Gertie scanned the beach and located her 3 kids who were now playing in the surf. "What harm is there in letting my kids have a good time?" "Do you have children?" Gertie asked, biding her time. "Probably, I don't know for sure." We Tyrannosaurus fathers don't usually stick around to find out. Well, if you did, you would know how to treat parents who are just looking to give their kids a good time. Why don't you do something and come back later when we've finished? What harm can my kids possibly do anyway? "That's not the point," Leo snapped back. "This is my territory, and you have to leave, now." Gertie shook her head in disgust and called for her kids. "You know you are a terrible dinosaur," she said under her breath. "It's dinosaurs like you that make us all look bad." "I'm not the one trespassing," Leo replied. Gertie gathered her kids, and together they headed back to the parking lot, angry that she had let them down. "You know I'm going to City Hall and check on this beach. I don't believe for a second you own it. If you did, there would be signs posted." "I never said I owned the beach. I said this was my territory. My lawyer will be contacting you," Gertie said as she left the beach, "and will sue you for all you're worth." "Hey, you left your sunblock," Leo said, pointing to the ground with his tiny arms. "Keep it," Gertie said as her voice faded away. Once upon a time, in a far-off land, there lived a zombie demon named Rex, who worked the overnight shift stocking shelves at the local big box store. He resided in a dark forest and had to commute each day on the back of a donkey provided by a local goblin taxicab company. Unfortunately, the donkey transport service was very unreliable. Often, Rex found himself walking the 10-mile path to and from work, leaving him utterly exhausted. Today was one of those days. He checked his phone and saw a notice that the donkey was sick again. This was the 3rd time that week. Rex didn't mind paying the fare for a ride because he could sleep as long as the donkey didn't bounce around too much. "What's wrong?" asked Anne, a coworker, noticing Rex's visible irritation. "The donkey is sick again," Rex barked, gritting his teeth. "And my feet are killing me." "Why don't you get a hotel?" Anne suggested. "I can't afford a hotel on what they pay here. You know that," Rex snapped. "I'd be better off sleeping behind the store in a dumpster," he said, feeling defeated. "That's not really a bad idea, you know," Anne replied. "You are a demon zombie. Isn't that the sort of place you hang around anyway?" Annoyed, Rex replied, "Are you kidding? Just because I'm a demon zombie doesn't mean I spend all day around garbage. I have a life, you know." "Actually, I don't," Anne came back. I just assumed that's what you did. Well, maybe you should do some research and find out before you spout off about what you think I do all day. I have hobbies, friends I like to hang out with, and no, they don't care for garbage either. Hey, I'm sorry, Anne said. Is there any other way for you to get home besides the donkey service or walking? Well, I could ask my ex-girlfriend for a ride, but that would be very awkward. I bet, Anne replied. You two don't get along? She wouldn't do you a little favor like giving you a ride? My ex is not someone you want to mess with. I'm a zombie demon, and she makes me look like the good guy, Rex responded. She would find some way to make me pay for any so-called favor she did for me. Like what? Anne asked. I don't like thinking about it, Rex admitted. I had to see a therapist for a month, and I still have nightmares. Why did you date her in the first place? Anne questioned. She wasn't always like that, Rex explained. When we first met, she was half normal, and that was good enough for me at the time. Anne looked at her watch and said, I'd consider helping you, but I can't drive my car in the forest. I know, Rex replied. I'll figure this out somehow. I always do, he said as he pulled out his wallet. What are you doing? Anne asked. Making sure I have enough cash for the toll, Rex replied. It costs 3 silver coins. And I can't remember if I grabbed enough. After finding his wallet empty, Rex threw it on the ground in frustration and yelled, Can this day get any worse? Just then, his phone rang, and to his shock and horror, his ex's name appeared on the screen. At a time, in a far-off land, there lived a mad scientist whose passion was creating biomechanical beings using animals and robot parts to sell at the local flea market. One Saturday, a customer inquired about a new biomechanical ram's head displayed at the mad scientist's booth. What exactly does that do? The customer asked. The head is mounted and doesn't seem to have much use if you ask me. Oh, let me tell you, the mad scientist replied. His name was Dr. Bot, and he loved to talk about his creations. Think of my creation as a communication device, sort of like your phone, only much better, Dr. Bot explained. Everyone has a phone these days, but who can say they have a talking robot ram? Nobody, the customer replied. It seems like a bit of overkill, if you ask me. Overkill? Dr. Bot responded, offended. Yeah, I mean you have to mount it on the wall, somehow connect it to Wi-Fi, and then find a plug to power it. It looks cool, but I don't think there would be much demand. How much is it? If you have to ask, you can't afford it. Move on, Dr. Bot said, waving his arm dismissively. I didn't mean to make you angry, but did you think this through before you made it? The customer asked. Normally, I make fully functioning biomechanical robots that can do basically anything. But I came across this ram's head at a taxidermy, going out of business sale, and thought, what the heck? Somebody would enjoy a talking robot ram's head. Yeah, I suppose. This is a flea market, and people sell all sorts of crazy stuff, the customer said as he walked away. Before you leave, would you like to see a demonstration? Dr. Bot asked. No, the customer replied. I'm not interested. Defeated, Dr. Bot hung his head and sat down behind his table. Don't let that guy get you down. Another customer said, I think that thing is cool. Why, thank you, Dr. Bot said, a smile returning to his face. I'll give you $50 for it, the customer said, reaching for his wallet. $50? Dr. Bot asked in disbelief. That wouldn't even cover the cost of the internet interface. I'm sorry, but the price is $500, firm. Ouch, the new customer replied. That's a bit more than I can afford. Does it do anything else? I mean, besides being a fancy, hairy phone? Forget it, Dr. Bot replied. Nobody gets you, the ram's head said aloud. You are a genius, and these people don't deserve what you create. Thank you, Dr. Bot said, feeling much better about himself. Thank me for what? The customer asked, unaware of the ram's comment. I was talking to my invention, Dr. Bot said, turning his head and pointing to his ear. I don't see an earpiece, the customer said, confused. Dr. Bot pulled off his ear, revealing a biomechanical communication device hidden under his skin. My biomechanical ram's head is right. I am a genius. In the dark part of town, on the wrong side of the tracks, there stood a novelty and gift shop that very few dared to enter. One misty evening, a couple came in to find a birthday gift for a friend, and as they browsed, they spotted 2 painted skulls behind the counter in a locked cabinet. "I see you found our skulls," said a thin, balding man as he approached the couple with an old wooden cane. "You have good taste. These are my favorites in the whole shop," he said, glancing up at the man. "Would you like to see them a bit closer?" he asked. "I don't think so," the woman replied. Her name was Nancy, and she had a bit of a snobbish attitude. "I'd like to take a look," the man interrupted. His name was Utah, like the state. "Fine, but make it quick," Nancy snapped. "I don't like it in here." The shopkeeper rummaged through his pocket for the keys, unlocked the cabinet, and carefully removed both skulls, placing them on the counter. They were painted with intricate designs that were unfamiliar to the couple. "What's up with the decorations?" Utah asked. "I've never seen anything like this before. Are they sugar skulls?" "No, sir," the shopkeeper replied. "They were painted like that when they were found, or should I say, dug up," he grinned. "Dug up? Dug up where? And when? And by whom?" Utah inquired. "I'm not sure. I bought both secondhand from a man desperate for cash. He only told me he dug them up in the woods just as they appear," Nancy scoffed. "And you believed him?" she asked. "I bet he took you for a ride." "These are magic skulls," the shopkeeper retorted, now a bit annoyed. "I am no fool. I don't part with my money easily. How do you think I've kept this shop open for so long?" Nancy scoffed again. "I have no idea how long you've owned this shop, but from the looks of it, a good wind could blow it over." "And many a wind has tried, missy," the shopkeeper replied. "The magic of the skulls protects me and everything I own as long as I possess them." "Then why would you want to sell them?" Nancy challenged. "Your story is full of holes. I plan to retire soon, and I will do so as soon as I sell both skulls. I've been waiting for a buyer for many years, and maybe tonight is my lucky night," the shopkeeper explained. "How much?" Utah asked. "1,000 for both, and I won't split them up," the shopkeeper replied. Nancy waved her hand and shook her head. "You probably bought these yourself online and painted them in your back room. What proof do you have that they're worth anything?" "A skeptic, I see," the shopkeeper remarked. "The only proof I can offer is what you feel in your heart." "That is no proof at all," Nancy stated. "Let's go. I wouldn't take those even if he paid me to take them." Utah, embarrassed by his girlfriend, tried to apologize. "I'm sorry for her attitude. She hasn't been feeling well lately." "You're right. I was feeling fine until I stepped in here," Nancy retorted as she walked away from the counter. Utah leaned over and whispered to the shopkeeper in his good ear. "I might be back later. What time do you close?" "Midnight," the shopkeeper whispered back. "Not a minute sooner."
Once upon a time in the dark part of town, on the wrong side of the tracks, stood an old, rotten wooden house, begging to fall apart with the next wind gust. Sitting on the porch of this old house was a troll named Terry, who spent most of his days and nights watching people pass by, hounding them and harassing them until they ran away. That was until little Susie happened to stroll by one fall evening, carrying a basket of bread and other foods for her sick, housebound aunt who lived down the block. "Hey, girlie," Terry yelled, getting the girl's attention. "What's in the basket?" "Nothing for you, you disgusting troll. Leave me alone," Susie replied, giving the troll the middle finger as she sauntered along the sidewalk in front of the troll's house. "Hold up, little girl," the troll yelled. "I got something for you." "I bet you do, you sick old troll. My mother warned me about you and your kind." "My kind?" the troll asked. "That's called racial profiling, and you know better." "I didn't realize trolls were a race. I thought you were genetic mutants," Susie replied. "Now tell me what's in your basket," Terry asked. "Don't make me ask a third time. You will regret it." Susie lifted the lid of the basket and peered inside. "I have nothing you want." "Are you sure? I want a lot of stuff," Terry replied. "Is it a dead cat? I could really go for a dead cat right about now." "Are you insane?" Susie asked. "Why would I carry a dead cat in my basket?" "I'll try again," Terry asked. "Is it alive or is it dead?" Terry asked. "I don't think it's either," Susie replied. Then she thought about her answer and changed her mind. "I guess you could say it's dead, or at least made from dead stuff." "Is it a basket full of leather goods? Like whips and dog collars?" Terry asked. "You make the most absurd and specific suggestions." "Why would a young woman carry a basket full of whips and dog collars?" I am done with you, and I must be on my way. My sick aunt needs me and what I carry. I will trade you for what is in your basket, Terry said, scratching his chin with this thin, pointed finger. I have many things your aunt would enjoy and bring much joy to her pathetic life. Shaking her head, Susie replied, You have nothing my aunt needs, and I don't want to make her sicker than she already is. I'm wasting time talking to you, and I must be on my way. Good day, sir. I have chocolate. Everyone loves chocolate, especially aunts, Terry said in an alluring manner. My aunt is diabetic. You would kill her with your chocolate, Susie replied. Sugar-free. Did I forget to say that? Terry asked snidely. Sugar-free. My aunt asked for specific items, and none of them were sugar-free chocolate. Are you finished bothering me yet? Susie asked. I charge a toll to cross my sidewalk. You know, 3 gold coins each way, Terry giggled. I see no sign posted there is a toll. Stop lying to me before I call the authorities. Susie snapped back and took off down the street to her aunt's, leaving Terry to badger whoever came next.
In a land far, far away, there lived a dragon who terrorized a nearby village, feasting on the residents like an all-you-can-eat buffet. The dragon spent most of its time in a deep, dark cave inaccessible to the villagers, and for over 300 years, it only emerged at feeding time. Frustrated that nothing could be done, Rick the Muse, who was also known as Wizard Rick, demanded to be heard at a village council meeting attended by the elders and Queen Lady Demonia. Why do you allow the dragon to feed on us like sheep? What have you done to secure our safety? Rick asked, waving his wand like a crazy man. We have tried everything possible, Lady Demonia replied. Unless you have a better idea, I suggest you sit down and be quiet. I doubt you've actually tried anything, Rick responded. Frustrated. Times have changed, and there must be new ideas or technology that can stop that beast. We are a small village and don't have many resources, Lady Demonia said. Maybe you could come up with an idea that we haven't thought of yet, the queen asked. A country girl from the gallery stepped forward and raised her hand to gain everyone's attention. I have an idea, she said. We could make the dragon an offer that he might accept in exchange for not eating us. That has been tried many times, the queen replied dismissively. The dragon demands nothing and wants nothing in exchange. He feeds on us simply for food. I have come across something new that may change his mind, the country girl said, holding up an object in her hand. What is that? Rick asked. I have never seen such a thing before. Is that magic? Are you a witch? He inquired. No, the country girl replied. It's a cell phone. The crowd gasped. What is a cell phone? Rick asked, astonished. I am the magician, and I have never heard of such a thing. What does it do? It allows you to watch art demonstration videos, the country girl explained. Lady Demonia asked, What is an art demonstration video? The country girl pointed the phone at the queen, and on the screen appeared a wild man painting a picture of a dragon. His name was Keith, and he was amazing. The crowd gasped once more. Rick moved closer to the country girl to examine the screen. Hey, that guy's pretty good, he remarked. Yeah, I follow him, the country girl said with a smile. He is so talented. Lady Demonia then asked, What do you intend to do? Give the dragon the phone so it can watch some wild man paint his picture. Yes, the country girl replied. That would distract him long enough for us to poke him with a spear and kill him. Rick, smirking, said, Only a fool would tempt a dragon with such magic. Don't listen to her. She's nuttier than the guy on the screen. Upset, the country girl replied, What would it hurt to give it a try? Are you scared that I have more power than the has-been magician, Rick the Muse? Has-been? Rick exclaimed, shaking his fist. I'll show you who's a has-been. Lady Demonia struck her gavel to silence the magician. Calm down before I hold you in contempt. This meeting is contemptuous if you ask me, Rick retorted. Fine, do what you want. I'm sure you will fail. Nobody belittles Rick the magician Muse. Time. In a land far away, there sat a village at the bottom of 2 mountains, surrounded by green grass and blue skies. However, today was different. The villagers hid in their huts, fearing for their lives as the red mountain dragon flew overhead in search of an easy meal. The town council met in the only stone building, attempting to find a way to save the village from the flying menace soaring high above. The mayor of the village, Sluggington Barrelhead, Slug for short, called the meeting to order with a strike of his gavel. "We need to find a solution so we can get this village back on a paying basis," Slug barked. "Really?" A voice called out from the gallery. "Is that the best you've got? We all know what the problem is." The village sheriff raised his hand and said, "This is way above my pay grade. I'm not a dragon killer, and neither are my deputies. You're going to have to hire someone for this job." "How did we ever elect such a worthless sheriff?" Slug argued. "It's your duty to protect the village, and if you can't perform your duties, maybe we should find ourselves a new sheriff." A low, booming voice called out from the back of the room. "I can kill the dragon," said a man named Brent. He was grizzled and worn and looked like he hadn't bathed in ages. "But it's going to cost you, and I mean a lot. I'll take pictures of it for free, but if you want it dead, you will pay dearly." Slug shook his head and pounded it on the desk, yelling, "We don't need you to kill the dragon. We need a professional." "What makes you think I can't kill it? I'm a professional. I have a license and everything," Gret replied, digging through his wallet. "And I'm insured. It says so on the side of my truck." "The sign on the side of your truck says you're a locksmith. It says nothing about killing dragons," Slug said dismissively. "If I lock my keys in my wagon, I'll call you." "Did you read what it says on the other side of my truck?" Brent asked defiantly. Slug shrugged his shoulders. "I assumed it said the same thing on both sides." "I wouldn't be doing any assuming if I were you," Brent snapped back. "I've killed more dragons than I can remember, and I can remember a lot." "Okay," Slug said. "If we hire you, the sheriff has to be your sidekick." Brent stood and pushed his chair across the floor, banging it against the desk. "I don't need help from a sheriff. I work by myself or not at all." The sheriff spoke up. "I agree with Brent. Let him do it." The mayor hung his head in disgust and then looked up at Brent. "How much is this going to cost?" With a huge grin, Brent replied, 10,000. "For that, you get the whole bird." Slug looked at the treasurer, who was sitting at the other end of the room. "Do we have 10,000 to spare?" The treasurer shook his head and replied, "We've got $300, that's it." Brent stomped his feet like a child. $300? Are you kidding me? You might as well open a buffet for that thing. "That's not a bad idea," Slug replied, scratching his chin. "If we offered up, let's say a dozen villagers, it might get full and go home, leaving the rest of us alone." The crowd gasped at the mayor's announced plan. The sheriff looked around and asked, "How do you pick who goes?" "A lottery, I guess," Slug replied. "But only the poor people, just to be clear." "What a jerk," a voice called out from the gallery. "Who said that?" Slug asked, scanning the crowd. "Whoever said that goes first. Sheriff, go arrest whoever said that." "I didn't see who said it," the sheriff said. "And you can't punish someone for sticking up for themselves. If you don't arrest whoever said that, you will go first, Sheriff. You are a dime a dozen anyway."